Bahasham Yahawashi, Bahasham Rikakwadash, the water Yahweh, Koholo Yahweh, Bahasham Yahawashi, Babakashai Yahweh, for your mercy as I cry. Koholo Yahweh, Bahasham Yahawashi, the water Yahweh, for your love all the time. Babakashai Yahweh, for a pie every time. Koholo Yahweh, Bahasham Yahawashi, water, Yahweh, for your mercy all the time. Water, Yahweh, for Akyawim all the time. Water, Yahweh, for Akyam every time. Koholo Yahweh, Bahasham Yahawashi. Shalom, shalom. It's your brother Obadiah Yahawashi, and I'm coming to you today with, get straight here, with another lesson. Most High has been working on my spirit to get it in and get it out. You know how he is. He ain't playing. He's cutting it loose. He's cutting it right. He's getting it out. I want to start off saying a shalom and salutations to all of the Akim that are out doing this work day in and day out. Those that are scattered abroad that obviously may look like the heathen, but they are not the heathen. As my brother always says, my brother Malcolm, my Reubenite brother. I'm going to also get hearty and a serious shalom to all of the Aqua that are listening and learning, and also to all of the brethren that are striving for this truth and staying in it as strong and as heavy as they can. Want to get a special admiration and a special consideration and blessing to the apostles who have been bringing this truth out for decades in and decades out, striving for as much perfection as possible with Yahawashi, because that's what it's all about. We got to make the grade, we got to make the test, we got to do what's necessary to get where we need to be. So definitely want to give a shalom out to them as well. All right, tonight, we're just coming up off of Feast of Trumpets, and we're going steadfast into the Day of Atonement, coming up fast, trying to finish out the new moon and the Sabbath, and which is what we were supposed to do in respect and love to Yahawashi, Yahawashi. Okay. Today's lesson, this evening's lesson is going to be a good one. It's going to be based on the fact that we have an opportunity here to speak about raising your level of love for Yahawashi, Yahawashi. That's extremely important, to raise the level of love for Yahawashi, Yahawashi. This is something that we all, kind of struggle with from time to time, and we need to be in a position where we're going to be able to, expound on that in truth, right? And in righteousness. That's what it's all about. Just talking, Yahawashi, Yahawashi has been working on my spirit with this this particular platform of spiritual inspiration and spiritual edification. It's very apparent that we do pray, and we pray heavily to Yahawashi, Yahawashi. At least those of us that are in the truth, we're praying consistently and all the time, praying without ceasing. That's extremely important. And this is what we strive to do, right? And I think that prayer, and I know that prayer is a major factor in reference to what we're going to be doing to show the Most High some love. But one thing about prayer I wanted to expound on a little bit, and that is the fact that there's a multitude of different nations and people in the world who pray, and they pray to, as I said before, to whatever deity they believe that is part of their belief system in terms of where they stand with things. You have individuals and groups of individuals that pray to Sheba. If they are Elamites, you have individuals who pray to Buddha if they happen to be, I guess you would call them Moabites or Ammonites or of that particular persuasion, right? And so you have a variety of different individuals who do pray. There's a praying process that is going on. And then, of course, you have individuals of various religious organizations and religious practitioner systems that pray to a fake deity in terms of a Jesus Christ or a Yeshua or a Haya or Yeshaya. These names they come up with. They don't have any validity, nor do they stand as far as any kind of representation of what the sacredness and the sovereignty of Yahawashi and Yahawashi. So clearly we know that that would not be valid in terms of being able to show the Most High Yahawashi and Yahawashi love, because that doesn't match up with what he's asking for. He's asking for a real true love. Okay, let me say this. Okay, I've always had this in the thought and in my mind. The first thing that Yahweh did in creation is and was to create Yahawashi. And prior to that, he had already determined that his son, whom he carved out of his own divine existence, right, would be a sacrificial deliverance for a people he predestinated as a chosen people unto himself. That's clearly scriptural, right? We are a holy people, Deuteronomy chapter 7, and 6. And this is a level of love we may never completely understand. It may be imparted to us in the new kingdom and the covenant, maybe. I don't know. That's something that we don't really know. If he'll impart why he chose to do what he did, the way he's done it with his chosen people in all the nations of the world. But carving Yahawashi out of himself and knowing that he was going to make him a sacrificial deliverance for a chosen people, which we are. That's man, that how awesome that is. That's crazy awesome, man. Shlaki. Trying to get my garment straight here. I got a little side. That's just beyond belief, man, in terms of being able to do that. Think about if you have a child, you have a son, a daughter, anyone, and could you sacrifice your child? I mean, he put Abraham to the test with Isaac, and then he turned around and he did it and was going to completely do it himself anyway. And so now you see how important that factor is. This is what I'm getting as a understanding of raising your level of love, right? And the Most High has raised his level of love for us in terms of what he's done and provided for us and the way he takes care of us. Especially, I'm speaking specifically, of course, to the elect, the hopeful elect, and the elect who are, currently in the truth. at total accuracy, of course. That's what I'm speaking from that particular perspective. And so, I mean, it's important to understand that, you know, the Most High had already decided to raise his position and his sovereignty and his perspective in his creation of us to a level of love that's higher than what we can clearly imagine. And this he's expecting a reciprocation for that. He's expecting us to respond to the love that he has presented to us in that higher level. Okay, I did a lesson I think it was the other day or so, where Yahweh specifically said that he's looking for a higher love. And you're not kind of put in that song, that little cut from Steve Winwood, "Bring Me a Higher Love," which is important. You know, if we claim and want to become a friend of Yahweh's, all right, we have to understand, before you can be a friend to Yahweh, you have to pass through certain trials that show that your love for Yahweh is greater than anything else completely. Anyone else, your love for Yahweh is greater than your personal desires, because anything that you desire in life, right, Yahweh can give it to you. But you have to raise your love level. You have to raise your love level. Spiritual level of love, right? Way higher. I'm talking way higher, beyond carnality aspects of your life, expectations, right? And experiences. You have to raise it past your expectations of life and experiences. You have to pray, praise, worship, and pray that the Most High will remove blockage from you, so arrogance won't be a factor in terms of what you're doing and dealing with when it comes to your lifestyle. Pride is not something that the Most High is comfortable with at all, in reference to, you know, not showing him a higher love, raising the level of love higher. A lack of humility is a factor that we have a lot in this particular truth of ours, as well as in this awakening. And of course, carnality and ignorance is very apparent. It will get you much work from the Most High, and the work that you get from him, you're not going to want, because then what ends up happening is you get spiritually blocked. And you can tell when someone's spiritually blocked, because some of the symptoms are a stagnation in communication with the Most High. What is a stagnation? When you have something that's stagnated, it's like, think of water that doesn't move, that's just still, consistently, always, doesn't have any flow, no wave, no action to it. That's like a stagnation. And then from over time, a stagnation becomes something that is not healthy. It's not fruitful. When you're just standing still in one spot, when you're just going, let's just say, in a circle. So if you have a stagnation of communication and you're spiritually blocked, you come to find out that it's very difficult for you to get communication from Bahasham, Yahawashi, because he doesn't see you as having enough love for him. And he wants a much, much higher love. And a higher love shows how praise works. So if you're spiritually blocked, then it's hard for you to have a loving, truthful obedience to his will. How could you have a loving, truthful obedience to his will if you are spiritually blocked, and if you are operating in arrogance and in pride, a lack of humility, carnal ignorance, and he'll get you very soon for that, because he's not going to be messing around. He ain't playing. So again, loving, truthful obedience to his will. Now, to me, when I think of loving, it brings me to praise. When you have a praise for the Most High, Yahawashi, That's a high level of love, because you're praising. You're actually getting some action involved in it. Okay, you're really getting your blood going and moving in this. And then truthful. So I said loving, truthful obedience. Now, truthful to me is akin to worship, because if you truthfully love Him, your worship is there. Your worship is also another action. See, these are separate actions that show your intentions to Yahawashi in a very deliberate way. So loving equals praising, truthfulness equals worship, and then of course we can't forget prayer, which is obedience. Prayer is the obedience factor in the three level process of praise, worship, and prayer. So you have a loving praise, a truthful worship, and an obedient prayer life in terms of how you're dealing with what's there. And this is to His will. So what does that mean? That means it has to be Yahweh's way only, not your organization, not your church, not your camp. It has to be Yahweh's way only. He has to be first. He should be the continual conversation and statements out of your mouth when you're giving your testimony and when you're doing your lessons. When we're talking about what particular types of judgment and warnings that are being imparted upon, the whole face of the earth and to all parties, you have to do it Yahweh's way, and you're doing it through the scriptures, which the Akim, the brethren, are doing, and they're warning you, and they're talking to you about the judgment, and they're giving you the time frames that are associated with the prophetic process of the judgments. This is true. This is exactly what has to happen. But also in lieu of that, what they are also doing, and I can see this starting to happen more frequently, is they are disclaiming the fact that Esau, Edom, who they're speaking of, who is the wicked, clearly Job chapter 9, verse 24 tells you that the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. So since we know that this is the case, and that's what's happening, and Yahweh controls all things, that's His sword. He talks about the wicked, which is His sword. Also, He talks about how He uses the wicked in terms of His army, to perform the processes that He has to in terms of imparting judgment on this earth and what's going to happen. And so knowing that He's doing all this, it takes a form of continual praise, worship, and prayer, along with disclaiming the fact that He's the one that controls all these things. Yahweh controls absolutely everything, and no one's changing anything that He's doing. Yahawashi can't even change what Yahweh said in Moses. He came to do His Father's will, not to change the will. So all these wacky-tacky Christians and everyone else that think that the will of Yahweh is changed by Yahawashi, you're going off. And, why waste time? There's no reason to waste time with them. Yes, we could talk around them and through them when we're trying to reach the hopeful elect and the elect that the Most High has time to wake up, and which is extremely important. But at the same time, we have to remember, Yahawashi is deliberately looking for those now who are going to show a higher level of love. Now, I'm going to continue to pound on this and say this because He's putting it on my spirit to do so. We're getting ready to go head on and heavily into what I call, coin phrase that He gave me, tribulation isolation. Now, y'all got to understand what I'm talking about here. This is not a walk in the park here. When the Most High drops tribulation isolation in its total capacity on this entire earthly plane, that means everything could literally go dark. Okay, I was looking at a video earlier about this information that this country and this government has in reference to the grid going down. Now, maybe you don't know what that means, or maybe you do. Now, see, I worked for the power generation company, and I retired from that part of the business. And one of the things that we dealt with quite frequently is something called the grid, the power grid. Okay, now the power grid is what encompasses the ability for us to have electrical power of multiple levels, all the way up to tri-gigawatts of power. Okay, now what does this mean? That means it's what keeps your lights on, what keeps everything running at its best or peak performance in terms of how things go. And not only does the power grid have attachments to things that are wired to it, but it also has attachments to things that are wireless to it. You gotta understand that, because most of the wireless functions that you use and wireless devices you use are set up to a location that is a stationary tower type process, where the types of wattage and power and kilowatts of power that are coming through are actually controlling how you use other devices in your life that are dependent upon a total amount of power from a grid. Now, there's three levels and segments of grid in the country. You have one on the East Coast, one in the Midwest, and one on the West Coast. Now, this particular video I saw, this individual was expounding on what he thought he was going to do to prep for the coming disasters that are going to befall this entire earth. And he felt like he was on point with everything that he was doing in terms of, prepping for that situation. Okay, so how do you prep for a complete shutdown of all power? Because if what you have is something that's similar to what's called a ground level EMP. All right. Now, if you get a ground level EMP, it's sort of the same kind of EMP process that happens when you have a nuclear war or a nuclear fallout situation, right? And these EMPs, what they'll do is they'll interrupt all types of mechanized devices you have, whether it be your car or handheld phones or appliances or anything of that nature. None of this stuff will work anymore once an EMP, this pulse hits. Okay, when you have it's an electromagnetic pulse. Okay, just to tell you what an EMP is in case those don't know. It's an electromagnetic pulse. And due to the fact that everything that the Most High created is operating off of electrochemiluminescence. Now think about how it matches up here. You have a electromagnetic pulse, and you have the building blocks of life that it's built off of and working off of electrochemiluminescence. You see the kin to this process? So you're going to have an interference process that's going to happen across multiple platforms of not only the devices that you use, but also individuals themselves in terms of what they could experience as far as what may or may not be inside of their bodies. Okay, because your body has a synaptic system that has an electrical capacity that runs your brain, your pituitary gland, your pineal gland, and on down your spine, and then throughout the rest of your body and your circulatory system and what have you. And when you go get the jump shot and other things of that nature, when you go get the Lucifer elixir, that sauce that they provide you, you're putting a sequence of other types of things in your body that could easily be activated in a way that could cause a zombophobia effect. Zombies, right? A zombophobia effect, right? Which means your body will go into some types of situations where things that are starting to happen will be really unbelievable. Okay, and so when an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse, happens, it's going to affect people as well as devices. Okay, and this is just the nature of how things are set up and how they're done. Now, all of this to me wires down and winds down to what the Most High Yahawashi is doing in terms of levying the plagues on the people. When he talks about in Revelation chapter 14, if you take the MOTB and you go and you serve that and worship that those particular types of plagues will be poured out on all individuals without repentance, and also on the rest of the world in reference to what happens once that process is set in motion. And so you got to look at it from that perspective. You get a lot of bug outs. I was checking Deacon out earlier today, and he was talking to a bunch of bug outs in reference to what they thought the MOTB was and how it operates. And see, of course, they all come up with all kinds of things like cell phones, and one idiot talked about it's a salute. They just go off. What they're not understanding is the whole process. There's a correlation of all the events of everything that encompasses the process of these things being correlated, gathered, and conjoined together and then placed in the device itself, which the device itself then goes in your body. So if you have everything that is correlating, everything that deals with your total resources that you use for your life on a daily basis, day to day, when if you have all those things correlated and captured and then connected and put into the device that goes in your body, you also have all of the other aspects that match up and mirror to those particular portions of your life that also will go into this device that goes in you, right? And then if this device is going to go in your hand, your forehead, and you can't function without that device, all of the aspects of it are conjoined together and correlated together to go into the device. And once it enters into your body, now you have acquired the full out process of the MOTB. So all these bug outs that talk about it's a spiritual a spiritual thought or something that's not going to allow you to purchase and buy what you need. They don't understand that it all conjoins together and then goes all into that device, and then that device goes into your body. So once you understand, and that even covers the spiritual perspective in terms of what you believe. Okay, or in other words, if you follow full out religious practitioner systems belief, and those belief systems, you are operating under an atheistic type process. Okay, what does that mean? What are you saying, Obadiah? Well, what I'm saying real simple is, if you don't believe in the sacred name and the Father and the Son, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi, and you don't follow what is the accurate truth in reference to everything that's being laid out, then you have to be on the other side of the relationship with truth as far as what is 100% right now. So check it out. Okay, give you an example. If you believe in a created material and it has been formed into your form or your object of worship, whether it is stone, wood, a Buddha, or whatever you want to call it, and you worship that particular piece of entity, and it's not alive. Who created the substance that you created this entity out of? Well, clearly it's Yahweh, right? Bahasham Yahawashi. And so if you're using that as a substitute to try to represent the Most High, you're bugging out, because that means you don't believe in him. You can't worship his creation. You have to worship the creator. And, and I'm not talking about Yahawashi, who was created first by the Most High, because he was carved out of the Most High's divine sovereignty in terms of himself. I'm talking about electrochemiluminescent substance that created, entities like Shiva, Buddha, and all these other ways that they try to worship. That's an atheistic type process, because what you're basically saying is you don't believe in the creator, you believe in the thing that he created, and you're calling that the Most High. That can't work at all. And this is what you have. And so this process in itself, this belief system that you're believing in some idolatrous type entity, that goes into the device that goes into your body as well. And so it's all going to be correlated into that process, stab and jab, everything, all that's correlated into it. But the main factor and contributor to what is the complete process is still going to be the device that goes into your body and in your hand, your forehead, what have you. And then at that point in time, you are now no longer a part of the Most High Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi. That's it. It's a wrap for you. So just to let you know, if this is where you're going, it's going to be a tough ride. It's going to be a rough ride, and it's not going to go well. We're going to get into some scriptures today. I talked enough for that. Today, I'm going to start out in the book of Jeremiah. I'm going to start verse 1, and I'm going to try to get through this whole chapter. And I also have some other precepts that I pulled for the study and the lesson this evening. And I could go through some of them first. And maybe I will before I break into Jeremiah, and then I'll close out with Jeremiah, the book of Jeremiah, in terms of how I want to bring this home. Okay, so I mean that's kind of what the Spirit's telling me. So let's go with that. All right, my first precept I'm going to is so join me, is First John chapter 4 verse 19. And so go with me to 1 John chapter 4 verse 19. And it reads, we love him because he first loved us. This is what I was saying in reference to the fact that the first thing Yahweh did in creation is and was to create Yahawashi. This is how he's showing us that we love him because he first loved us, right? Because he definitely first loved us. And that's what he's showing you by doing it. Like I said, carving the Son of the Most High out of the Most High himself, man. Do you know what that means? The magnitude of what that is. Just try to marinate that for a while. Get that through your spirit, through your mind, through your spirit. He took and carved Yahawashi out of his own existence. Are you kidding me? What kind of you talking about love, man? That's way off the chart than we can even imagine, man. Before he talked about getting anything else done, it's the first thing he did, and he was thinking, when he carved him out, he was already predestinating him to come and deliver us out of the mess we were going to be in. Are you kidding me? Why would you not jump up and down and do freaking cartwheels and flips and be praising him and worshiping him like crazy, like beyond crazy, man? I mean, I don't know, man. I'm just saying, this is what he's telling me. Like, he's looking for that kind of love where you appreciate what he has actually done from himself. What kind of gift is that? I mean, come on. Romans chapter 8. Okay, let's go to Romans chapter 8. So we're going to go there, and I want to read 38 and 39, right? So let's get that. Romans chapter 8, 38 and 39. It says, for I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come. Are you kidding me? All right. Or things to come. 39. Nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of Yahweh, which is in Hamashiach, Yahawashi, our Lord. Can you understand that? That's part of what he's showing you by him carving Yahawashi out of his divine existence, and then Yahawashi creating us. That is so awesome. And then to be plucked up and chosen as the seed and as the people who will go back to becoming the sons of Yahweh, the sons of God. This is beyond what we can imagine in terms of why we should be giving him the love that we don't recognize or realize we should be turning this up to. We should really be turning this way, way up past what anything we're doing. This has to be first and foremost. That's why I said before, he wants a loving praise, a truthful worship, an obedient prayer to his will. To his will, Yahweh's way only. That is so very important that we've got to get this down, because what's coming, man, you ain't got nothing else that's going to actually bring you any kind of protection. The only thing that armor that fortifies and superpowers your spirit, your gospel armor, so to speak, your Ruach HaKodesh armor, is the praise, worship, and prayer. Other than that, you got some weak ass armor on. Okay, because that's why it talks about different things like the helmet of faith, the shield, you have to have everything, right? You have to have the breastplate of righteousness. You have to have that shield of faith, that helmet. You got to have everything, man. You have to have the sword. All of it is prelude to praise, worship, and prayer that coats that divine protection for you by Yahawashi Yahawashi. This is what the angels are doing all the time, and we're messengers. We're angels in our own right. We're the sons of God, right? We're also that. So we're supposed to be reflecting and doing the same thing. That's why I did the lesson on mirroring the Mashiach, mirroring Hamashiach, right? This has to be drilled in, and this has to be on point, because soon we're not going to have the company of men, the company of anyone, when everything drops down and drops out, because you'll be with whoever you're with. If you're with the brethren and the SHTF hits, hey, and everything drops out, then you're blessed. You're in that position. But it's a good chance that everybody's going to have some semblance of touched or getting touched by, everything in terms of the wrath that comes out. That's going to be very apparent. So we better be getting ready for that. All right, the next precept I'm going to is 1 John. I'm going back to 1 John. So go with me. 1 John, and I want 4:20. 1 John chapter 4, and I'm going to go verse 20. And it reads, if any man say, I love Yahweh, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. Okay? For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love Yahweh whom he hath not seen? Let me read that again, because this is extremely important, because we have a lot of this going on in reference to the portions in the process of reproving and moving. We hate what our brother does, but we don't hate our brother. Okay, that's very apparent. I know that from what I've learned from the men of the Lord who've been teaching this for decades in and decades out, is they're not speaking about hating their brother, but they do hate the stuff that Jake be doing, because Jake be doing some wicked stuff. And of course, the Most High is in control of all of what Jake does for a purpose, to show, to teach, to learn, to practice, and understand that this is the things we're not supposed to be doing. Because if we don't understand what wickedness is, how could we stay away from it in terms of inheriting the kingdom of heaven and righteous everlasting life? There's no way we're going to be able to afford to earn that unless we know what is completely out and way bugged out. And that's what we're dealing with. Okay, I'm going to hit that one again. And it's 20, and it says, if a man say, I love Yahweh, if I love God, and hateth his brother, which means an Israelite. I'm not talking about Edomites. I mean, Most High hates them. So we can't conclude them or include them in this particular process. They're not even supposed to be included in our entire book. So let's just face the fact. That's why it's no need to even talk to them. Okay, and Shalaki, love Yahweh and hateth his brother, he is a liar. And liars cannot, whoremongers and everything else, can't inherit the kingdom of heaven, right? For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, right? How can he love Yahweh whom he hath not seen? That's real clear. I mean, you don't even need a breakdown for that. That's just, that lays it right out for you completely, right? Okay, next we're going to go to John, and we're going to go to chapter 13. And we're going to hit 34, and it reads, and of course, this is when Yahawashi was speaking also to the disciples, and it's important to know that, prefacing it, right? 34, a new commandment I give unto you, Yahawashi speaking, right? That ye love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another. And why he repeated that twice in terms of the same sentence is because he's asking you to understand that there has to be a higher level of just what you think is love, as far as if you're taking your spirituality and putting carnality and painting a carnality presentation of love to make it seem as though it's spiritually strong. You're not. That's not raising to a higher level of love. We have a lot of people who are perpetrating love through a carnal mask and trying to tell us and show us that it's spiritual. No, it's not. You can tell what love really is when they show you as opposed to just tell you. Okay, that's a major factor that you have to look at in reference to that. All right, so if you're not showing it, then how could you say that you really love someone? All right, so that would be a mistake. All right, next we're going to go to Romans chapter 5, and I want to get verse 8, and it reads, but Yahweh commandeth his love toward us, Shalaki, you're right, commended, Shalaki, commandeth, I said not commanded, but he did that, but commendeth, right? Shalaki. But Yahweh commendeth his love toward us in that while we were yet sinners, Hamashiach, Yahawashi died for us. Okay? Much more, 9, much more than being now justified by his blood, we shall be saved from wrath through him. So in order to activate that blood and activate it in a process that will deliver you, you got to be praising and worshiping and praying. How could you miss that? You can't miss that, because that's where it's going to take in order for you to get that level of protection, right? Okay, pop back to 1 John, and I'm going to go to 4 and 7. 1 John chapter 4, verse 7, and it reads, Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of Yahweh, and everyone that loveth is born of Yahweh and knoweth Yahweh. Okay, so like I said, this lesson is about the fact that we have to raise our level of love for Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi. Raise your level of love for Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi. What you think you're doing now, I never think I'm doing enough. I would never be so presumptuous to think that I've arrived, that I've done enough, that I've been there. I don't care if I had been out here for 80 years. I'm alive for that time. And if I had been doing it from day one, I still would never feel like I've done enough. That would be presumptuous of me to even think that way. And if anybody thinks that they've already arrived and they've done enough and they're where they are and they're ready for a chariot ride, they're going to be sadly mistaken when they come to find out that he's looking for a very much higher love. That's why he jumped all over the churches in Revelation 2:9, 3:9, and the like. All of the churches in Asia were basically what we're talking about is those are the gathering of the Israelite men who were trying the best they could in order to bring forth a love that is sustainable and respectful to Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi. And Yahawashi came on the scene and told them, I got some issues with your love. I've got some issues with your love. And he's got some issues with my love and your love and everybody else's love here right now. I know he does. None of us have gotten the Smyrna and the Philadelphia aspect of it right down packed to the nth degree. We have not gotten that, but we're working on it. And part of the process of working is to work with all the tools. All the tools mean you have to have praise, worship, and prayer. Not just one tool, which is prayer. You need it all. You better have it all, because what's coming, you're going to have it all to be covered. If we got to flee, if we got to bug out to the wilderness, if we got to roll out, we got to have a full measure in our cup of oil. We got to have a full measure of the oil of praise, worship, and prayer. Not just part of it, because you ain't going to be able to go back 4 seconds. You're going to need what you need when you roll out at the time when it happens. So you got to get ready for that process. And that's the only way it's going to happen. That's why it says in John 4:7, he says here, Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of Yahweh, and everyone that loveth is born of Yahweh and knoweth Yahweh. He that loveth not knoweth not Yahweh, for Yahweh is love. Now, of course, love is to fulfill the commandments, all right? We know that already from John 1:5, right? In this was manifest the love of Yahweh toward us, because that Yahweh sent his only begotten Son into the world that we might live through him. Herein is love, that we love Yahweh, but that he loved us and sent his Son to be the propitiation for our sins. Beloved, if Yahweh so loved us, we ought also to love one another. No man hath seen Yahweh at any time. If we love one another, Yahweh dwelleth in us, and his love is perfected in us. Hereby know we that we dwell in him, and he in us, because he hath given us of his spirit. See, this is what I was telling you, how Yahawashi was carved out of his divine existence, okay? 14, and we have seen and do testify that the Father sent the Son to be the Savior of the world of Israel, okay? Don't get it twisted, wacky tackies, this ain't for you, okay? Whosoever shall confess that Yahawashi is the Son of Yahweh, Yahweh dwelleth in him, and he in power, in Yahawashi. In Yahweh. And we have known and believed the love that Yahweh hath to us. Yahweh is love, right? And he that dwelleth in love dwelleth in Yahweh, and Yahweh in him. That was 16, 17. Herein is our love made perfect, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment, because he is, so are we in this world. All right. Clearly, you have to show this higher level of love. You have to level up to a higher level of love. Okay. 18. There is no fear in love, and you cannot have too much of Bahasham, Yahawashi's love. No fear in love, but perfect love chaseth out fear, because fear hath torment. He that feareth is not made perfect in love. Now, the fear here that they're talking about is to fear ignorance in what Yahweh's doing with his world and the people and all that he created. If you fear wrongly instead of rightly, then you will be bugged out and you will have a problem, and it won't be perfect love. Okay? The fear we're talking about is a higher level of love for him, because you know that he is one who could eliminate your in total existence, which he has Esau slated for this. Okay? You don't want to be part of that. Okay? All right, 19. We love him because he first loved us. And we see that in terms of what he did in terms of providing Yahawashi straight out the gate for us, right out the beginning. 20. If a man say, I love Yahweh, and hateth his brother, he is a liar, for he loveth not the brother whom he hath seen. How can he love Yahweh whom he hath not seen? And this commandment have we from him, that he who loveth Yahweh love his brother also. So we can clearly see that as the factor that we need to be involved with, and we need to really get on point with this, okay, as far as showing our love and not be ashamed. Look, clearly we know the ones that's doing this work at this late stage of the game, at this point right now, if you are doing this work, whether you are out on the streets all the time, on the internet all the time, or just doing a combination of the both, you're not in fear. You're austere. You're not in fear. You have to be austere, because everyone that's doing this work is already in a position where they know who we are. It's just the way it is. And collective wise, if they go to collect you, that's just what it's going to be. All right. Bottom line. All right. Galatians chapter 2, verse 20. So go with me to Galatians, and we're going to 2 and 20. And it reads, I am crucified with Hamashiach. Nevertheless, I live, yet not I, but Hamashiach liveth in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of Yahweh, who loved me and gave himself for me. You see how important that factor is? I'm going to read that again because it's very important. It's basically categorizing all of what I was saying earlier in the precepts that Yahawashi had me pull. Okay? And then I'll read it again. All right? And it says, 20, I am crucified with Hamashiach. Nevertheless, I live, yet not I, but Hamashiach liveth in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of Yahweh, who loved me and gave himself for me. Right? 21. I do not frustrate the grace of Yahweh. For if righteousness come by the law, then Hamashiach is dead in vain. Why do you not frustrate Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi? Because what you're doing is you're trying to create a perpetual praise, worship, and prayer. Perpetual praise, worship, and prayer. Prayer, yes, but you gotta praise and you've gotta worship. There are three distinctive things. Get this. because you don't have anything else when everything drops out. I'm telling you, I'm going to keep pushing it because he keeps pounding on me about it. And he wants to see it now. Start doing it. Come on, elect. This is what's up. Okay? All right, that was Galatians 2. Forgive me, I get passionate about this. You know I do. I'm going to 1 Corinthians now, so go with me to 1 Corinthians. And I'm going to 13:13 in 1 Corinthians, right? And it reads, and now abideth faith, hope, charity. These three, but the greatest of these is the charity, because you got to have the charity in order to show the love. Okay, you got to have it. All right. All right. I'm going to John again, 1 John 4:10, and go me to 1 John 4:10, and it reads, herein is love, not that we love Yahweh, but that he loved us and sent his son to be the propitiation for our sins. I can't emphasize this enough. Could you be a propitiation for anybody? Could you be a propitiation for even your own children? How about your own spouse? Could you be a propitiation for anything? Can you? Think about that. That's extremely important. Okay? Next, we're going to go to Ephesians. So go with me to Ephesians, and I want chapter 5 and 25. And it reads, husbands, love your wives, even as Hamashiach also loved the church and gave himself for it. Now, you got to understand the connotation. Obviously, this is something Paul spoke about as well in reference to you in the carnal flesh in terms of what you should be doing for your spouses. You know that. But this bleeds through bigger and better, because Yahawashi is looking for a bride. He's a husbandman, and he's coming for a bride. He's coming for the Israelites, not any other nations of the world. And he wants to find someone that's showing a higher love for him. If you have someone that doesn't care about their brother, doesn't love their brother, doesn't love themselves, they can't love you. It's impossible. Can't be done. So this is why Yahawashi said what he said, and that's why he's looking for this level of love to level up, which it has to do. Okay? All right, next we're going to John chapter 15 and verse 13. John 15 and 13. And it reads, greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Now that's fire. Now think about it. How many of us can honestly say they would jump in front of a bullet for a friend or a loved one or anyone? Would you lay your life down for a friend? Would you lay your life down for the best friend we have in Hamashiach, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Yahawashi? Would you lay down your life for? That's just as much of a quandary is to figure out why Yahweh decided to sacrifice Yahawashi right out the gate for us, right? If you could be a friend of Yahweh, right? Because remember what I said, before you can be a friend of Yahweh, you have to pass through certain trials. You have to. It's part of the process. All right, we're going to pull Jeremiah, Shilaki, we'll get to that in a minute. 1 John 5:3. So go with me to 1 John 5:3. All right, for this is the love of Yahweh, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. Okay, again, for this is the love of Yahweh, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. And what does his commandments entail? Yahawashi is the spirit of prophecy, which means what? He's the living word, which means he also is the arbitrator and is propitiation and the performer of what? The commandments, which you are supposed to keep. So keeping Hamashiach Yahawashi, right, is is showing the love to the Most High of you keeping these commandments. That's part of the process. You've got to do it because they're not going away. We're going to have them in the new covenant, right? So what do you know, even the Sabbath, all the things are going to be there. They're just all going to be clean. They're all going to be perfect, but they'll be there. That's why he's saying this in this way. Okay? I'm going to pop up to 1 and go down to 3 on this same one, 1 John 5. All right, and I might go down a little bit further. Let me read a few of it. It says, whosoever believeth that Yahawashi is the Hamashiach, is born of Yahweh, and everyone that loveth him that begat loveth him also that is begotten of him. So that tells you right off the bat. It's a process that happened from Yahawashi coming out of the Father, and then we coming out of Yahawashi, and then on down the lineage line to where we are at this point. Okay. 2. By this we know that we love by this we know that we love the children of Yahweh when we love Yahweh and keep his commandments. 3. For this is the love of Yahweh, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. 4. For whatsoever is born of Yahweh overcometh the world, and this is the victory that overcometh the world, even our faith. Who is he that overcometh the world, but he that believeth that Yahawashi is the son of Yahweh? This is he that came by water and blood, even Yahawashi Hamashiach, right? Yahawashi Hamashiach, not by water only, but by water and blood. And it is the Spirit that beareth witness, because the Spirit is truth. Okay? Now, of course, by water and blood, why? Okay, because one of the things about him being manifest in the flesh is we're 70% water, but the blood is something also that transcends the physical world and the spiritual world. That's the only thing that does it in that manner. These bodies themselves don't get to get that kind of a ride. They have to have a transformation in order to make it to the kingdom of heaven. And in most cases, what the Most High says in Scripture is flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of heaven. He's talking about from a carnal perspective. He's not talking about the fact that the spiritual portion of the blood of Hamashiach Yahawashi, as well as what we're washed in, is also going to permeate that level of heaven, which is very important to understand. Okay, now we're going to go to Romans chapter 8, and then we're going to go ahead and get into Jeremiah, which will complete this lesson out in terms of, we're going to do that chapter and we're going to get it right. So we'll break it down as best Yahawashi will allow through the teaching, right? Romans chapter 8, verse 39, and it reads, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of Yahweh, which is in Hamashiach Yahawashi our Lord. I'll read that again. Nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of Yahweh, which is in Yahawashi Hamashiach our Lord. Okay, clearly that says what it does, and it kind of brings it home for us, right? Okay, so now we're going to go ahead to Jeremiah chapter 31, and we're going to go ahead and get into breaking this portion down. So I want you to, stay with me on this, because it's a little bit of work that has to be done in order to get it there in reference to my notes and everything, right? So we're going to get into this. All right, starting at the top, verse 1. At the same time, saith Yahweh, will I be the power of all the families of Israel, and they shall be my people. Thus saith Yahweh, or thus saith the Lord. When you have that statement in the beginning, that phrase, that means Yahweh's talking. Okay, pay attention, because in this chapter he does a lot of thus saith Yahweh. Okay, so you got to pay attention. The people which are left of the sword found grace in the wilderness, even Israel, when I went to cause him to rest. Okay, now this has a lot of varying connotations to it in terms of preambles to what happened in the past as well as the immediate present, going into the future here with 31. All right, so you have a lot of the praise, worship, and prayer in terms of the segmentation of these periods of time, these eonic periods of time. So make sure you don't miss that part. Okay. 3. Yahweh hath appeared of old unto me, saying, Yea, I have loved thee with an everlasting love. Wow. Woo. As my brother Menach say, woo wee. Woo woo. That's what he said. I like when he does that. Okay. Say it again. The Lord Yahweh hath appeared of old unto me, saying, Yea, I have loved thee with an everlasting love. Therefore, with loving kindness have I drawn thee. You see what I mean? 4. Again, I will build thee, and thou shalt be built, O Virgin of Israel. See, he's looking for that marriage process to happen with us, to not be tied up in a whole bunch of other wickedness and other religious practitioner systems and idolatry. Okay? You know, don't be bugging out and going out and trying to come back with some language and name that doesn't have anything to do with his sovereignty and his sacredness. Okay? Okay, again, and I will build thee, and thou shalt be built, O Virgin Israel. Thou shalt again be adorned with thy tabrets. It's awesome, right? And shall go forth in the dances of them that make merry. 5. Thou shalt yet plant vines upon the mountains of Samaria. The planters shall plant and shall eat them as common things. I'm talking about awesome. The mountains of Samaria, that's our land, right? For there shall be a day that the watchmen upon Mount Ephraim shall cry, Arise ye, and let us go up to Zion, unto the Lord, to Yahweh our power, right? For thus saith Yahweh, Sing with gladness for Jacob, and shout among the chief of the nations. Publish ye, praise ye, and say, O Yahweh, save thy people, the remnant of Israel. Man, that's what I'm talking about, fire. See, that's why when I hear precepts like this, you know, that bug out, you know the bug out I'm talking about, the one that goes, the one that sounds like a drill sergeant. What's his name? You gotta listen to your old troublemaker. You want to slam my fist down and say, "Oh, it's God, is this and that, and rather than that demon." You know what I'm talking about? He's a bug out. See, he won't read a precept or something like that, right? He'd be like, "God is a spirit. He's not a color. He's a spirit." He's a bug. He's out of his mind. I mean, if there be some bugged out preachers, that voice trying to sound like some kind of a drill sergeant or something, man. He's a Christian drill sergeant. Okay, sorry, I don't want to digress. All right, let me go back to what I was saying. Okay. 7, as I read, I'll go back. All right, come on, forgive me now. I just kind of lost it for a second there. For thus saith Yahweh, right? For thus saith Yahweh. Oh, man. Sing with gladness for Jacob, and shout among the chief of the nations. Publish ye, praise ye, and say, O Yahweh, save thy people, the remnant of Israel. He's talking about the elect here. You know he is when he's talking about the remnant. Behold, I will bring them from the north country and gather them from the coast of the earth, and with them the blind and the lame and the woman with child, and her that travaileth with child together. A great company shall return thither, right? They shall come with weeping, and with supplication will I lead them. I will cause them to walk by the rivers of waters in a straight way, coming right in beautifully, wherein they shall not stumble. For I am a father to Israel, and Ephraim is my firstborn. Now, did he name any other nations? No. So you wacky tackies, you're finished. But listen, that is so powerful, because see what he's showing you right here and telling you, this is this is very much prophetic in terms of what's going to be coming down. When the stuff drops out and the bottom drops out, and the Most High comes with that kind of stuff, bringing us? Are we going to not be weeping and with supplication? And he going to lead us, and I will cause them to walk by the rivers of waters in the straight way, those rivers of water of life, wherein they shall not stumble. Where we won't stumble and fall behind. For he's a father to Israel and his firstborn Ephraim. I mean, come on, man. What is he telling you here? Is that not a higher love he's talking to you about? That's why this really sinks home to me when I think about Jeremiah 31. It is such a powerful chapter about raising your level of love for Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi, and how he raised his level of love for us as well. Okay, 10. Hear the word of Yahweh, O ye nations, and declare it in the isles afar off, and say, he that scattered Israel will gather him and keep him as a shepherd doeth his flock. For the Lord for Yahweh hath redeemed Jacob and ransomed him from the hand of him that was stronger than he. Right? Therefore, they shall come and sing in the height of Zion. See, singing is praising, man. Don't walk past this part of this. You know, why do you think he got us out of Egypt and all the other areas that he's got us out of? Why do you think he keep taking us through so much ass kicking as far as the slaveries and the captivity is concerned? Because he's wanting to praise, man. We start praising and then we fall off and do something stupid like make a gold calf. I mean, come on, man, really? All right, the height of Zion and shall flow together to the goodness, to the goodness of the Lord of Yahweh, for wheat and for wine and for oil and for the young of the flock and of the herd, and their soul shall be as a watered garden, and they shall not sorrow any more at all. 13, then shall the virgin rejoice in the dance. See, there we got praise and worship again, the dance, both young men and old together, for I will turn their mourning into joy, and I will comfort them and make them rejoice from their sorrow. See, this is fire. And let me tell you something. This is why the Most High is looking for us to start practicing the righteous acts in the way that he's looking for it at a higher level of love. Because if you can start getting into that mode, you know, I know it's tough. I'm not trying to downplay it at all, but I'm going to tell you something. We're going to have to praise through the perils, man. This is how we're going to be able to get out of this as well. We have to be able to show him that even when we're down, even when we're kicked down, even when it's going to get rough beyond what we can imagine, that we have to praise and worship him to show him that we believe in him no matter what. We're going to keep our faith strong. We're going to roll. We're going to make it happen, right? We got to get into it. We pray for Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi and the Ruach HaKodesh to give us the power and the strength to praise, worship, and pray through the perils, man. We got to do it. And 14, and I will sedate the soul of the priest with fatness, and my people shall be satisfied with my goodness, saith Yahweh. Thus saith Yahweh, a voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation and bitter weeping, Rahel weeping for her, Rahel weeping for her children, refused to be comforted for her children because they were not. Thus saith Yahweh, refrain thy voice from weeping and thine eyes from tears, for thy work shall be rewarded, saith the Lord Yahweh, and they shall come again from the land of the enemy. Okay? And there is hope in thine end, saith Yahweh, that thy children shall come again to their own border. 18. I have surely heard Ephraim bemoaning himself thus. Thou hast chastened me, and I was chastened as a bullock unaccustomed to the yoke. Turn thou me, and I shall be turned, for thou art the Lord, Yahweh, my God, my power. 19. Surely after that I was turned. I repented, okay? And after that I was instructed. I smote upon my thigh. I was ashamed, yea, even confounded, because I did not bear the reproach of my youth. Man, and I can claim that about myself. Oh, completely. I know I can, man. And I try to repent as much as I can. How about Bahasham Yahawashi? But again, being smoked, man, upon thy youth, man, is that's you talking some powerful stuff here, man. And this is the kind of thing that the Most High is looking for in terms of seeing your humble repentance, man, in His sacred name. And that's what we need to look forward to trying to do here. We got to reach out for that level, right? All right. 20. Is Ephraim my dear son? Question. Is he a pleasant child? Now, that's very questionable right now, because as we can see the way that the punishments and the judgments are going down on Ephraim, the Northern Kingdom tribe that I'm associated with, man, we got some wicked idolatrous crap going on, man, with Santa Maria and all kinds of other wicked, crazy things that we've been doing in terms of worshiping Christianity-based processes. I mean, it's just a mess, man. And we are that backsliding toward it, in which we're getting to that in a minute, right? All right. All right, and to spake against him, okay, Shalaki, Ephraim, my dear son, is he a pleasant child? Question. For since I spake against him, I do earnestly remember him still. Therefore my bowels are troubled for him. I will surely have mercy upon him, saith Yahweh. See, Most High still got mercy for all the tribes, man. He's showing you right now. It hurts him to see what's happening to Ephraim, but that's what's going on, right? All right, said Yahweh. 21. Set thee up waymarks. Okay, what would be waymarks? When I fish, I have a fish finder on my boat, and I can put in these waymarks. These waypoints, which are waymarks, which is they're locations that I've been before, and I've marked them so that I can go back to them, because I know fish are there, in that spot, because that's one of the places that they house in that area. So I got these waypoints on my map, on my fish finder, and then when I go in my boat, I can, just hit waypoints or waymarks, and my boat can take me to those locations that I fished before that are successful. So set thee up waymarks, make the high heaps, set thine heart towards the highway, even the way which thou wentest. Turn again, O Virgin of Israel, turn again to these thy cities. Okay. I love when he talks about heart towards the highways. The Most High has us on a path. And when you're on his path, the straight gate of the path is where you're going. And you sometimes will come off ramp where you may have to meet, greet, and get with someone that the Most High needs you to impart some information or knowledge, or whatever greeting is supposed to be provided at that time. But you gotta pay close attention that you get back on the path and continue the mission that you agreed to in the spirit world before you got here, or however many times you've been here. Okay, so that's very important to remember that, in terms of your mission and what you're doing. Okay, all right. So just wanted to make sure I brought that out. Okay, 22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? See, still talking about the northern kingdom, right? Well, we know the southern kingdom as well. For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. Right. Now, we're not going to walk past that, because what we're going to do is we're going to give it a couple of different connotations here. Let's start at the top first. Lady Liberty, this particular queendom. All right. Okay, so it has this queendom compassed men. Absolutely. Things have become so effeminate at this particular point that there's nothing that you can say or even do that doesn't come out to act like it's a misogynistic process against the women. They've been obviously given a right hand seat next to Esau Edom in terms of what he has been provided to control this system, as wicked as it is and as unrighteous as it seems to be operating under. It's funny how women in general, and now, our women have a front row seat right there on that particular throne next to that wicked person that's giving up all these rules and regulations. And the thing that's so troubling for us is when we try to speak against it in terms of what we're supposed to be doing, we get chastised at the nth degree by the system that has nothing but unrighteous decrees on us anyway. And then you get labeled that that you're not doing what you're supposed to do, or you out of control. And so this is problematic, and this is why it says in this point that that women will rule, that a woman shall compass a man. So we see that that's the case, especially with Lady Liberty in this country and the way things have been designed and set up. And so it's coming down. It's circling the drain, and it's coming down fast. Okay, 23. Thus saith Yahawah of hosts, the Lord of hosts, the power of Israel, as yet they shall use this speech in the land of Judah and in the cities thereof, when I shall bring again their captivity. Yahawah bless thee, O habitation of justice and mountain of holiness. We are the habitation of justice, and we are going to be in the mountain of holiness when our nation rolls up, and that's what's coming. Okay? All right. And there shall dwell in Judah itself and in the cities thereof, there together husbandmen and they that go forth with flocks. For I have sedated the weary in soul, and I have replenished every sorrowful soul. Upon this I awakened and beheld, and my sheep was sweet, my sleep was sweet unto me. Behold, the days come, saith Yahawah, that I will sow the house of Israel and the house of Judah with the seed of man and with the seed of beast. So we're going to see all of the process being brought back to perfect in the new covenant, new kingdom, and the children of Israel will be brought back. As he said, he will sow the seed of Israel, right? And the house of Judah with the seed of man, and the seed of beast will be those wicked. Well, it's going to be those ones outside the temple, and they're going to be working. He's all tantamount to slavery again, right? Telling you right there off the bat. And it shall come to pass that, like as I have watched over them to pluck up and break down, and to throw down and to destroy and to afflict, so will I watch over them to build and to plant, saith the Lord Yahawah. In those days shall say no more, the fathers have eaten a sour grape, and the children's teeth set on edge. No more generational curses, man. That's going away. But everyone shall die for his own iniquity. Every man that eateth the sour grape, his teeth shall be set on edge, right? Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand and bringing them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was an husbandman unto them, saith Yahawah. Okay, so we know that we're going back to perfect, and we ain't dragging nothing from this wicked system into the new covenant, because it's not going to be needed. We're going to be in that perfect state and in that perfect situation, right? Thus saith Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi, right? 33, but this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith Yahawah the Lord, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their power, and they shall be my people. 34, and they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know Yahawah the Lord, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yahawah. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sins no more. Right? Thus saith the Lord, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. The Lord of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith Yahweh, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever, which will never happen, because that's what's going to happen. We are going to be the ones that move forward in this process for the Most High, but we will show him now that we can love him. We can raise our level of love for him. We can do it. I know we can. We can raise our level of praise and worship for him and prayer. We can do it. I know we can do it. He put it in us to do it. It's there. 37. Thus saith the Lord, if heaven above can be measured and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, I will also cast off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, saith Yahweh. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that the city shall be built in Yahweh, in the Lord, from the tower of Haniel unto the gate of the corner. So what is Haniel? Let me break it down. The tower of Haniel, or Haniel, okay, or of God, or Yahweh, is gracious. God, Yahweh is gracious. That's what it means. Is a tower in the walls of Jerusalem, adjourning the tower of Mia or Hemieth. The tower of 100 is what tower of Hemieth means. To the east, connecting to the sheep gate. It is mentioned in Nehemiah 3:1. Okay, so let's go there and pull out Nehemiah 3:1 and check it out. Okay, then Elisab, the high priest, rose up with his brethren, the priests, and they builded a sheep gate. They sanctified it and set up the doors of it. Even unto the tower of Mia, they sanctified it unto the tower of Heniel. See? So there you see it right there. All right, let's go to Nehemiah chapter, which is mentioned again, 12:39. Okay, so let's go there. Nehemiah, hold on a second. Slocky. All right. Nehemiah 12:39. Where are we at? Here we are. And from above the gate of Ephraim, and above the old gate, and above the fish gate, and the tower of Heniel, and the tower of Nia, even unto the sheep gate, and they stood still in the prison gate. Okay? So we're talking about, you see what the tower of Heniel means. Okay, so let me finish. All right. It is located on the northern wall section of the old city near the northeastern corner. A point of the city always requires special fortification, and later the site successfully later the site was successfully of the Hasmonean barracks and of the Anonia fortress. Okay, so that was the tower of Heniel, which was important to know what that means. So you got to break them things down so you know what we're saying when we read these things, right? That's important. Okay, I'm going to go back to Jeremiah and get ready to finish up here on 31. And let me go back. And I was all the way down towards, I just read about Heniel. All right, and then 39 was, and the measuring line shall yet go forth over against it, all right, upon the hill of Gebri, and shall compass about Goath, and he, Shalaki, and the whole valley of the dead bodies and of the ashes, and all the fields unto the brook of Kidron, unto the corner of the horse gate towards the east, shall be holy unto Yahweh. It shall not be plucked up nor thrown down any more forever. So we're talking right there about the new covenant kingdom area that will be measured and set out for the inner court, the outer court, and all of the adjusted, how it was all fortified and set up. So as you can see, the Most High, he's showing you that the love that he has is beyond our comprehension, but we have to strive for trying to raise to that level of love in terms of our comprehension. That's why this lesson was raise your level of love for Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi. And of course, part of the level of raising your love for him, the way that I normally go about doing it is I like to sing to him. That's what I do because I feel closer to him. That's my intimate way of getting closer to my Father, to my Abba, Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi. And it also shows a great deal of respect and admiration to Yahawashi and to the Akim and the brother and the brotherhood that are in this truth of ours. So if you join me with it, you can, but if you don't, I don't mind either, because I'm always loving to say and sing, Kohlo, Yahawashi, Yahawashi, Wada, Yahweh, for your mercy as I cry. Kohlo, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Shalaki, Yahweh, for my sins as I cry. Kohlo, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi. I can't wait for the Day of Atonement so I can show you why. Kohlo, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Rakatha, Yahweh, for your mercy by and by. Kohlo, Yahweh, every day of my life. Kohlo, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Kohlo,